So now that we are officially a few episodes into the Florida Antique Trail, I thought it'd be a nice time to catch everybody up on the vlog and welcome you to what I think is probably going to be the place that we continue to do this journey. More specifically because I feel like there's a lot that I want to incorporate that short form doesn't really allow for. So if you were just finding me, my name is Savannah. I'm the Savvy behind what Savvy said, and we are currently doing the Florida Antique Trail. Only a few episodes in, and every episode I've done so far has been really specific to the store that we're visiting. But what I really want to see in this going forward is the history and the stories and the artistry. For me, as somebody who grew up in the United States and has always been surrounded by antique furniture, if you guys have watched the vlogs, you'll know that all of my bedroom furniture is antique. We have a lot of antiques in our house. There's a lot of wonderful things to be said about antiques. There's a lot of things that are complicated and not so lovely about antiques, given that they are old and they require updating and changing in order to continue to use them properly. I feel like this journey for me is going to be just as much about learning about these pieces and appreciating the artistry, but also in hearing the stories and understanding what is important about these pieces. For the last couple of years, I've been really heavily watching the French chateau and European renovations of these old buildings and the restorations of them. And I feel like throughout the process, I've learned so much, not just about how things are built in other countries, but also really appreciating the depth of how things that seem so modern and so normal and so underappreciated have so much more of a history that we devalue them today. They're so casually available that we have no context for what we should appreciate. Porcelain is one of those things you guys will learn as we go along. The history of creating porcelain, the rivalries and the process of kind of making this a thing, and all of the artistry and the ways in which that kind of permeated the world. Murano glass is one of those things. I think there's so much that I want to be able to appreciate even more in depth, because I think that the stories and the people that have existed are just as important to anything that we might be creating today. That being said, let's talk about what the Florida Antique Trail is and what it isn't. So I found throughout my journey of doing this so far, even in just the first few weeks of doing it more specifically and talking about it online, because I've gotten feedback with every video about places where I live that other people should visit. I live in an area that is very heavily touristed, or at least the town adjacent to me is. And so there are a lot of people who come to visit and visit places that are on this list. However, there are a lot of places that aren't on the official trail. And so I will bring that up as we go throughout these weeks, months, years, however long it takes us to do this, because I think that this will turn into something else. There is an official map online, and there's also several states that are available to explore if you don't live in Florida. So if you Google Florida Antique Trail and find the website, you can look at everything that has been listed, and then you can also see all of the other states that have their own antique trail, which I think is incredible. I don't know that you're going to find exactly what you're thinking for in every store, and that's kind of what I hope to point out throughout the process of this. My idea for how we do this journey is that week to week I kind of give you either some kind of vlog, some kind of something throughout the process where I take you to the places that we're visiting, and then I also help you see the history of some of the pieces that we're seeing. If you guys check the short content I've already done, I walked you through my recent antique book haul, essentially creating a library to be able to resource myself to have the knowledge that I need for us to go on this journey. There's a lot of information that isn't available online, and I would like to use the least amount of AI in this process, and I feel like there's just also elements that you're only going to be able to find in books. So we will continue to build out my knowledge library. I've checked my local library as well, and hopefully it'll be an experience where no matter where you are, it feels like you're getting to have that bit of travel. I am such a big fan of Europe, and I feel like there's so many things that we see when it comes to the historic elements and the artistry and all of the stuff that we kind of think of when we think of antiques to some degree. But I'm also very aware that it's very much a privilege to travel. It's very much a privilege to get on a plane and to go anywhere international. My mother is in her mid 70s and she's been international once in her entire life. It is a privilege to be able to travel, and it's something that I hope to be able to do, but I hope that this will also provide you with something that maybe is a little bit closer to home for you. We will not often talk about price. I really feel like depending on where in the world you are and what you're looking to buy, there's always going to be a relativeness when it comes to the cost of antiques, when it comes to the cost of any kind of piece of furniture or anything you're investing in. And it's also going to be relative to where you're buying, how they're evaluating it, how they feel they should get value from it. there's a relativeness that's going to come with that. You will find that as we go along, I have favored towards a lot of pieces that require heavier artistry, and those price points tend to be a little bit higher, but I'm also not shopping currently. I'm sure that will change in the process of this at some point, but right now for me, anything I'm buying is kind of small. So I understand that everybody will have a different value and they'll all view pricing for the various pieces that we're seeing very differently, but I don't think it's up to me to kind of speak to that. I think that I can tell you if I feel like there's more to a price point, making sure that we're educated on the craftsmanship and how rare it is in order to see certain pieces. I've talked about this with the Murano glass chandeliers and just how protected that is and how much that is passed down from generation to generation. There are a lot of things that you'll see throughout this journey that the price point for these pieces is not just that it's old and rare and they're pricing it that way. It's because the ability to make it, the ability to replicate it, even more enhanced than you realize. So just a note on that before we continue the video. So far I visited 4 stores locally, and those are all the ones that are on the official trail. And I think as long as it suits everybody and is really helpful, I'll continue to kind of give you a more individualized experience with what you can expect within the stores in short form content, so that if you're shopping for yourself or you're really more specifically curious about a store, you'll have that. And then here we'll kind of be able to get more into the history of it, seeing all of the different things, learning what we might not know about these really rare pieces, how they were made, where they were made, the stories behind the things that were made. I just am always fascinated by that. That is what I find the most interesting whenever I'm traveling and I do any kind of tour. So you can definitely look forward to that and vlog content, as well as the stuff that I'm consuming, because I think that that's really helpful. You guys know I love a period drama. You know that I love to read a little bit of a historical romance and just kind of all of the above with this. I feel like we have so much fun content ahead of us because of this. I also recognize that what some people view as an antique versus other people's view of an antique is very, very different. So I'll try to clarify what I feel like you're getting in the process with the individual videos of these stores, because there's some, especially because it's a Florida antique trail, I feel like you end up with a few places depending on the area where some of them are really touristy and they're really kitsch, and there's lots of things where it just doesn't feel very antique-y. You will see in the first vlog that we're going to do with this, I went to the Antique Emporium again today. I featured this in a couple of vlogs, so if you want to sneak peek back, I'll link it in the description box below. But it's one of those that has an overwhelming amount of stuff, just an insane amount of stuff, in a way where it's one that has lots of different stalls. So every stall has whatever the people who are renting their stall want to put in it. And it tends to be that it's not as heavily leaning towards furniture. It has some furniture pieces, but you're going to see a lot of other small plates, jewelry, all kinds of different niches throughout it. There are some people that are going to specialize more in furniture. There are some people who are going to specialize more in vintage pieces. What people really value when they're shopping when it comes to antiques for some might be different for others. So I know what I value, and you guys will know if you watch any of the shorts that like Main Street Antiques is my absolute favorite. It is what I feel like is a perfect antique store in that element. I do wish they had maybe more furniture, but they would need a bigger space, and I'm also not shopping for furniture right now, so it's fine. I just feel like it has such a curated balance that it's both an experience and a wonderful place to shop. It is a beautiful store to walk into. But there are some that just have a lot of things, and it's very, very overwhelming. So I will try to make sure that it's not just that if you're going through this experience with me, I want for those of you who are watching the long form videos that you're learning and that we're having fun together, and that it does feel like an experience that you could have locally if you had, you know, a weekend and you wanted to go do a couple of these places. That I'm really kind of giving you that like tour guide experience in it, but I will walk you through probably in short videos with each store all of the different things that you need to know specifically about what you might need to know in order to prepare yourself to go shopping in said store. But for now, I'm really excited about this. I'm really looking forward to this. You guys know I am really on a Gilded Age kick right now because I'm watching it with my mom, and I feel like, especially living in the US, there's a lot of history in not just antiques and porcelain and all of those things, but also in how the creation and the establishment of that in the United States really was a part of its independence and a part of establishing who we are separate from the UK and all of the ancestors that we come from. So I think it'll be quite fascinating to be able to tie back those differences and to see all of the different elements of things. I know that I have a deep family history in the UK, so we will definitely be pulling in some of those moments. Be very much prepared to learn a little bit about me and my history throughout the process, and hopefully it'll give you something about your history if you've been able to track down your ancestry. But I think that this is going to be a really fun journey, and I'm very excited to take you guys along. So there will be a new vlog every single week, kind of going throughout this process as we develop it a little bit more. This is new for me, so I am very much open to seeing what you guys are open to. And you know, the more you're here, the more you're commenting, the more you're engaging, the more that's your jam. If you're excited to do this, if this is something you want to see more of in your content world and your feed, subscribe, follow along. I am very excited to do this with you. So let me know in the comments below, if you're in Florida, what area you're most excited to see. If you've already done the antique trail, let me know. If there's places that you think that we should go visit, drop those down as well. The first thing I got when I posted my video for the first place on the antique trail was recommendations for other places to go. And I've seen in places that are not officially on the antique trail lists of other stores. So we'll go off the trail because there are quite a few store owners that I've met so far that don't know about the antique trail, and I also feel like there are going to be some hidden gems. So I'd love to make this as comprehensive and exciting and just as like world building and storytelling as possible. I really am so excited to be able to travel again, and I know that it's so much fun to feel like there are opportunities to do travel in a different way in a smaller capacity when you live in the States. As much as I am very much looking forward to more European travel, I feel like we will come together and create some beautiful experiences that feel like they're more weekend available, maybe more accessible. They give you an option to do something that you can do at any budget, whether or not you're shopping or not. The opportunity to be curious. I think we're gonna have a fun time as we go along. So I'm so excited. Welcome to our cozy little corner of the internet, and I will see you for a new video very, very soon.